Am I the asshole for showing the kids what their dad did? My husband was staying at the hospital for some health issues. After he got out he started wetting the bed every few nights. We talked to the doctor about it and they gave us meds, but they take time, so they suggested that my husband use adult diapers temporarily. He said no, and since he's too sick to do anything, then I'm the one having to clean up every time. I grew tired of it. He just kept wetting the bed and not even considering diapers at this point. Yesterday morning was my final straw. I saw that he'd wet the bed again and I just kind of went off. I kept talking, but it's like he wasn't hearing me at all because he just kept staring at the wall. The kids heard the fuss and came in asking what was going on. I showed them the state the bed and sheets were in and said, "See, your dad keeps wetting the bed and throws a tantrum when asked to wear a diaper." They stared and my husband looked shocked. He had them leave the room, then said I shouldn't have done that. In my defense, I wanted to defend myself because I thought it was unfair when the kids accused me of yelling at their dad, for no reason. He said I humiliated him in front of his kids and made him feel terrible. I told him he can be less embarrassed and feel less terrible when he stops wetting the bed like he was a child. He started crying, saying he's struggling with his health, and said that I was being cruel and descendant towards him now. I'm trying to turn the kids against him as well as shame him in front of them. My sister visited, and when I vented to her about it she said she understood, but I was still in the wrong for getting kids involved. I'm feeling conflicted on whether I did the right thing, maybe to get him to understand how this has been affecting me as well. Am I the asshole for this? The kids' ages are 11-13. I'd love to see everyone who has judged you as an asshole clean the bed of someone who refuses to wear diapers repeatedly. I'm not going to give a judgment because you are at your breaking point. He needs to wear the diapers. He's being incredibly selfish putting all this extra, disgusting, work onto you. Not the asshole. Since dad is too proud to wear diapers, leave the bed wet. Sleep on the couch. Edit to add not the asshole. Got the kids involved out of desperation and being at the end of her rope. Very surprised at all these "you are the asshole" comments. Yeah, maybe it was kind of harsh to yell at him when he's sick, but for Christ's sake, if he knows he's wetting the bed he should be wearing a diaper until he's no longer having the problem. 1. That grown-ass man should be able to realize by himself that wetting the bed isn't fun and wear diapers. 2. He was humiliated before his kids, yes, but only because he refuses to wear diapers. Any kid would understand that being sick happens and that's not something you can control. 3. You got to be really insecure if you fear to be humiliated in front of your own family. Not the asshole. Because your husband shouldn't prioritize his pride over making your caregiving job a little less hard by choosing not to wear a diaper. Being a caregiver is super hard and mentally and physically exhausting. But what you did was super out of line and pretty demoralizing. I understand your frustration and your reasons, but you should never involve the kids. Am I the asshole for using my son's savings to get his stepbrother's car fixed? My stepson, 19, got a new car from his bio mom. She and her family are well off, and unlike me, they could afford to buy a car. I'm happy for my stepson, but my son, 17, isn't. In fact, he complains about how unfair it is for my husband to let his ex gift their son a car but not him. It's unreasonable, I know. But teenage years are mostly hard, and it's even harder to expect the kids to be reasonable. My son wanted to take part in driving the car as a compromise, or else we would have to get rid of it. I sat him down to explain to him that the car is his stepbrother's property, and he shouldn't be expecting to drive it unless he's given permission. He was having none of it and kept giving us ultimatums saying he either share the car with his stepbrother or the car goes. When my husband confronted him, my son went and done so much damage to the car. He threw paint on it, ruined the lights and damaged the front of it completely. My stepson had a breakdown when he saw it in the morning, and husband was beyond livid after seeing the footages from our driveway cam and seeing my son damaging the car. My husband confronted my son later, and all my son did was laugh and give him the middle finger. I went to take all of his camp savings for this summer to pay for the damages and gave them to my husband. My son found out and went batshit on everyone in the house. He accused me of stealing, then trying to please my husband for sex. Then told his stepbrother that he warned him and so he shouldn't be blamed. He also said it was my fault for not getting him a car or getting my husband to get him a car in the first place to avoid favoritism and conflict. He's been spending majority of his time in his room refusing to come out or eat anything. I'm worried about him not eating because he did this once and ended up in the hospital for low BP. Not the asshole. When I saw the title, I was ready to call you out, but you handled that pretty well. Your son is almost an adult, he should act like it. He was not remorseful, and he should be grateful your stepson didn't press charges. If he complains, ask if he'd rather his stepbrother press charges. I'm not even gonna lie. I stopped reading after you said your 17-year-old son gave you an ultimatum about someone else's property. Tuned back in to see he damaged it and to ask myself what is wrong with you to even think you were an asshole? Definitely not the asshole. It's called consequences of his actions. IDK how he even felt he was in a position to offer an ultimatum to begin with. Tell him to get over himself, and if he ends up in the hospital for trying to starve himself with a tantrum, let them know what's going on so they can maybe admit him for a mental evaluation. Not the asshole. Your son needs professional help. This is beyond teen angst or hormones. At his age, he should be able to comprehend that his stepbrother has a separate parent who he has no connection to and who can and will provide for her son. And sometimes this includes gifts. Your son should be grateful that his stepbrother didn't involve the police. What he did is a felony in many jurisdictions. And at 17, it's very likely he would be treated as an adult. If you're concerned about his refusal to eat, have him put in a 72-hour psych hold. It'll start the process of getting him the help he clearly needs, and they'll monitor him if he needs medical help. Edit. Not the asshole. NTA. He would lose everything except his clothes if he were my kid. Tell him that you can use his savings to fix the car and he will be working to cover anything left over, or you can file a police report so your SS can file an insurance claim. His choice. Not the asshole, but JC, what the hell went wrong with your son to behave this way? There needs to be consequences because it seems having his money taken away hasn't translated to him learning a lesson. Am I the asshole if I don't let my roommate's dad sleep in my bed? I, 21 female, live in a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. My boyfriend, 22 male, shares my bedroom and bathroom with me. My roommate, 22 female, let's call her Mary, has her own bathroom and bedroom. We share a kitchen, common room. For context, Mary and I split the rent 50-50. Our names are both on the lease as it is university housing. We are both university students. She is a senior and is graduating in 3 weeks. I am a junior, so I graduate next year. My boyfriend is a senior and is also graduating in 3 weeks at the same university. Yesterday Mary texted me that her dad is flying out for graduation and she is looking for hotels, but they're too expensive, so he needs to stay in my bedroom. I was very confused and taken aback by this request because it seemed completely strange and inappropriate. I told her I, and my boyfriend, will be here and will be using the room, because we live here. She said that we need to leave so that she can have the room for her dad. I asked if she could use my air mattress in either her room or in our common room that he could sleep on, and she said no. My boyfriend then told her that his friend has an extra twin bed in his room that he could use, and she said no because she needs to babysit him. She told me she has no choice but to ask me and my boyfriend to leave our apartment so her dad can have my room. When I said my boyfriend and would be staying in my room, she said I was being unreasonable because it's her only graduation. This is not true, she's going to medical school next year. It is also my boyfriend's graduation, so he obviously needs to stay as well. She said she just started looking for hotels 3 weeks before graduation because she had been too busy to do it earlier. Not only do I need my room, which I pay for, but I'm not comfortable with a man I've never met sleeping in my bed and staying in my room with my personal belongings without me being there. Am I the asshole if I don't let her use my room for her dad? Edit. My boyfriend, my roommate, and I all pay the university the same amount for our housing. Edit 2. Apparently he can't sleep in her room because her and her mom are sleeping in there and her parents are divorced and can't stand to be with each other. She said he can't sleep on an air mattress because where would she put the luggage? Unless they're bringing 5 suitcases each, there should be plenty of room. Edit 3. She told me I should move out lol. Not the asshole. This is gross, creepy, and completely over the line. Her lack of planning is not your emergency, and the idea of a stranger sleeping in your bed should rightly disgust you. You need to put your foot down and make sure your landlord is aware of what Mary is asking in case she lets her dad in to take your bed when you aren't home. Not the asshole, it's your room and your roommate is insane. If he can't sleep on an air mattress for whatever reason, she sleeps on the mattress and he sleeps in her bed. This is not difficult. Not the asshole. I'm not sure why your roommate believes she's entitled to be able to kick someone out of a room that they pay for to make room for her father, but this is a life lesson that she's gonna have to learn. Tell her straight up that you will not be letting her father stay in your room and that she's more than welcome to borrow your air mattress so they can bunk in a room together. She'll just have to get over it. Not the asshole, she should let him sleep in her bed and she can have air mattress or sleep on the couch. Not the asshole, why can't she make her dad stay in her room or the common area? Also, both your names are on the lease and expenses split 50-50. How can she ask you to leave for that period of time? Not the asshole, her lack of planning is not your problem to solve. She has a room and he can stay in that room. Tell that her rent payment allows her the use of her bedroom and bathroom and living room so she can pick one of those to use. It does not give her the right to give away what she doesn't pay for, as that is theft. I imagine there is more going on here, like if he needs babysitting, then she might not want him around people, which is why her option for you to leave is what she needs to happen. Then change the lock. Am I the asshole for not letting my neighbors borrow my car for a long trip? I, F29, moved to a new neighborhood almost 2 years ago. I live alone, no partner or kids, but my mom, F80, does live with me part of the year, 6-8 mallionths of the year. I really like this neighborhood and haven't any issues until now. It's a very tight-knit community, neighborhood BBQs at least once a month. The kids all play together after school, etc. My next-door neighbors to one side have a severely disabled child. She is 6, almost 7, and completely non-verbal and wheelchair-bound. They have nurses who help care for her, but I know her parents are struggling. Understandably so. Her mom had to quit her job and is a full-time carer for her and their other older child. I've gotten relatively close to them, the parents, and they are lovely neighbors. Their older child is respectful and honestly one of the sweetest children in the neighborhood. For my mom, I bought a minivan and had it customized to have a ramp and wheelchair tie-downs so that I can easily transport her and her mobility equipment, usually an ECV or wheelchair, when she's staying with me. The other 4-6 months of the year, when my mom spends time with her sister and friends in our home country, the car sits mostly unused unless I have a reason to move bigger things that won't fit in my daily driver. I noticed that the neighbors didn't have a car suitable for transporting their daughter without taking her out of the wheelchair and fighting to keep all her tubes and wires in place, so I offered them the use of my minivan if I wasn't using it to transport my mom. We've had an agreement in place that has worked well for us for almost 18 months, but now they've asked if they can use the car to go on a road trip. The trip is scheduled to last just over 2 weeks. The main reason for the trip is to take the kids to Disney World for the first time. My problem is that my mom is supposed to arrive a couple days after they would leave. I asked if they could delay the trip by just a few days so I can at least get her from the airport with minimal stress. They are adamant they leave on the dates they want to do. I said no. I need to be able to comfortably get my mom from the airport, and after a 12-hour flight I want her to be comfortable and not have to worry about getting in and out of the car. They called me selfish and I've been ousted by the rest of the community. I wasn't invited to the last barbecue. Nobody says hi or waves back at me on the street anymore. The neighbor kids that come by to see my dogs and run around the yard with them haven't been by in almost 2 weeks. I tried to text the neighbors, but my texts went undelivered, so I think they blocked me. I feel like I'm living in a hostile environment now and it's so uncomfortable. Should I just cave and let them take my car? Not the asshole, and don't cave. It appears your friendly neighborhood is actually made up of a group of false friends. You didn't ask for anything unreasonable, but they wouldn't adjust for you, even though you were extremely generous with them. This neighborhood has turned toxic, and if it's possible, I suggest you find a community of more honest people. Not the asshole at all. The agreement was that they could use it if you didn't need it, you need it. If they desperately wanted to use it, they should have checked dates with you first. Also, your other neighbors? They haven't been told the truth about what's going on, I can guarantee it. Not the asshole. I honestly was expecting to open this post and see that you wouldn't let them use your vehicle, period, and I was prepared to say not the asshole. This is a whole other level of ridiculous, choosy beggar behavior. I'm sorry that your neighborhood has turned on you. I think you should rescind all offers to use the van, period, because their behavior is abhorrent. Also, if they can afford to road trip to Disney World for 2 weeks, then I kind of doubt they are as hard off as they have represented themselves. I think these neighbors have very much taken advantage of your generous nature. NTA. Saw how fast they turned on you when they didn't get their way. Imagine an accident involving van, you will be held liable and they probably won't pony up any money and you will be holding bags. Fist, it's a cup of sugar, then your lawnmower, what's next? Not the asshole. They are entitled and selfish. Even if you cave, they will still think of and treat you as a pariah. Welcome to the world of assholery. The best revenge is to live well. Make other friends and invite them over for a barbecue. And next time your mother visits, go over to the family and introduce them to your mother. Not the asshole obviously. But I'd be tempted to corner one of your other neighbors. Don't ask what they were told. Just say something like, I don't understand why everyone is giving me the cold shoulder. I don't get why it's so wrong to expect to use my van to pick my mom up from the airport before letting neighbors use it for their trip to Disney. Could you explain that to me? Look questioning. They'll presumably not respond because they'll have been told some sob story that has no correlation to that. Exit stage left.